You're going to eating. I'm having a fish sandwich and some sour cream and onion. Yeah. I got out my cocktail. This is Country Club with vodka. It's cherry. Delicious. Okay. We're in a retrograde. So the first video that I put on when I was doing my bike riding, my way to stay in shape and keep myself slender, burn the booze, and keep myself optimum, right? My brother just had a baby, you know, Blaze. So congratulations to my brother. He had a baby named Blaze. We got a baby brother. We got a baby brother, Ebaz. Oh my God, Ebaz looks drunk. Ebaz, what's wrong? Ebaz, stay up. You're a little drunk. We were all celebrating the arrival of young Blaze. Well, anyway, let's discuss part 2 of incompatibility of signs. Sagittarius and Virgo. Yes, I know. We got cut off at 7 minutes. I was trying to, change it and make it, a little bit more interesting, more variable. The Saturn retrograde. 7 planets are retrograde. 7 planets are retrograde. So, even though we are in Leo season, and it's usually one of my most favorite times of the year, is Leo. You all know how I feel about Leo. So, I feel happy and I feel at my most optimum when we are in Leo season, which we are now. So, we have to deal with Mercury retrograde. It's a bitch. A bitch. What can you do? I tell you, I have been so stressed these last couple of days that I actually picked up smoking. Well, 1 or 2 cigarettes on occasion. I'm really not a cigarette smoker. But sometimes when you got to deal with the bullshit, you got no choice. Now, where is the lighter? I always have a lighter here or match it some later. Always when I want it, I can't find it. And I don't want to leave my post once I start the videos. I hate doing that as well. So it looks like I'm not going to have my cigarette. Because I'm not going to get up and look for it. But anyway, we are going to continue. I apologize that we got cut off at 7 minutes in the video with me on my bike, I try, and that's why I got the iPhone, and almost $1,000 was spent on this iPhone, and even with that, I'm still not getting what I want. See, this is Saturn. It doesn't matter if you're rich, you're poor, or if you got access. Saturn will see to it that whether you got money or you don't, whether you got access or you don't, you're not going to get what you want. And things are not going to move smoothly wherever Saturn falls in the birth chart. It's just how it is. It is just how it is. Nothing you can do. Nothing you can do but manage it. You can't control it. You can only manage it. So that's kind of like my best advice that I have to give you. If you have Saturn falling, well, you do, because all of us are born with Saturn in our birth charts. So wherever he falls, like I mentioned in my other videos, is where you're going to really go through shit. So I'm going to pray for you that Saturn is less harsh with you as he has been with me. I'm 50 years old. The older I get, the more harsher the principles of Saturn become. Because it's like, look, bitch, do what you got to do, or we're going to fuck you up. We're going to fuck up your game. That's how you have to look at Saturn. Saturn really isn't demonic and an old devil like he's been classically depicted as. Even though I myself will be the first one to say, that motherfucking devil. Woo! I'll be the first one to say it. But I will be wrong in saying that. Because I know that Saturn ultimately, even though he's the devil, when it comes to mundane astrology, he's really not. And even if he is, he's put there for a reason. To challenge us. To cause us to grow. Through adversity, opposition, and obstacles. That's the only way that we're going to learn and move forward in Jacob's ladder of evolution and evolve. It's not going to happen without the agency of pain. And pain is a great motivator, let me tell you. I could care shit worth a damn about it. But if you're going to experience pleasure on this plane, bitch, you know that the pain has to come with it. You cannot have pleasure, desire, without the pain that accompanies it. We live in a world of duality. Night and day, earth and water, fire and air, man and female, good and evil. I mean, I can go on all night. We live in a world of duality. So it would be ridiculous for you to think that you can have pleasure and not have pain come with it. And if you have 100% pleasure, you best believe that you're going to experience 100% pain. One doesn't come without the other. If you don't understand that, then this will be hell on earth on this plane. But if you understand that principle, you can manage your life. You can manage your needs and desires of pleasure and desire, and temper it with the reality of the pain that must be waged for you to go to those pain, to those pleasures and desires. It doesn't come for free, and it doesn't come without a price. Understand that. So, moving right along, we have to say that we left off with Mercury, Virgo, and Sagittarius. I described Virgo and, you know, his position philosophically as a mutable earth sign, and his relationship or her relationship in their place concerning relationships. And then I started to talk about Sagittarius before I got cut off, right? So we're going to pick up on Sagittarius. And this video is going to run over 45 minutes to make up for the 25 minutes that was not accomplished in part one. I only got 7 minutes. So I'm going to add the rest of that minutes of that video into this one. Okay, my batteries died out. My phone, my Android, when I was outside. So now I'm at home and my desktop. So I'll finish the rest of the minutes of that part one with part two, put them together, and that'll go over 45 minutes. So I will be discussing Virgo and Sagittarius. And of course, let us begin with the fact that these are both mutable signs. One is mutable fire and one is mutable earth. So our first questions that we have to ask ourselves is, where do we see this combination in nature? So when we're dealing with Virgo, we're dealing with mutable earth. We can ascribe that to the entire surface of our planet. The entire surface of our planet is represented by Virgo. Because you got winter, spring, summer, fall. If you're in Asia, or if you're in Madagascar, if you're in London, or if you are in China, you know, you're going to experience the same temperature, climate gradients, just in a different intensity. The tropics is very different from the Arctic. And the Midwest and America's heartland is very different from the South Pacific or the South Seas. And Virgo rules all changeable topography, morphology, and even the dynamics of our planet at any given moment in time. All of this is reflected by our planet and our planet's constant changing, global warming, and the inconstancy of our climate. It's hot one day, it's cold another day, it's raining hail and sleet, killing people and damaging property, and the next moment we have wild fucking fires burning through all of Northern and Southern California. So Mother Nature is so unpredictable and so versatile. All of this, though, all of these intricacies and different kinds of drama and stuff going on with our nature, with our trees, plants, minerals, the land, and also politically with our own lives, the lives of nations, and even the lives and interests of companies and corporations. All of these thematics belong to Virgo. What happens on the platform of the earth is relegated to Virgo. So if something is not right, if there's an earthquake, even though earthquake relates to Taurus, Taurus is fixed earth. And when fixed earth becomes shakeable, then the gods of Taurus have been stirred. You know? So, but it's still part of earth. So all of them, including Capricorn, interplay each other. So understand the philosophy of Virgo is about self-preservation and survival. Virgo deals with the basics in life. Food, shelter, health, the basics. Whereas Sagittarius deals with the most extreme of social issues. Virgo does too. But on a different side of the wick than Sagittarius. Sagittarius is not so concerned about the outcomes of things. He's more concerned, or she, with the dissemination and the dispensing of new ideas that will change the current condition in our society. You see, Virgo is interested in healing society in the here and now. Virgo will be the type of person that if he sees a homeless person in a corner, sleeping on the floor, dirty, urine on himself, hungry, the Virgo, as I've done when I was a social worker, sat on that same street, in that same puddle of urine, hold that man in my arms and rock him and give him love. I don't give a fuck who's looking, who's watching, what I'm wearing, or if I'm sitting on shit or I'm urine. That's a human being. And every human being is valuable. That is the virtue of Virgo. We see the rich person who's about to put a bullet in his head because he's done so much wrong, has destroyed so many lives, and invested so much money that he sees no redemption or way out to rescue his own soul. So he'll put a bullet in his head. We as Virgo will take that gun out of his head and convince him of his own greatness and his own divinity. So what? He killed a couple of people, stole millions. That was his shadow side. We all have a shadow. And we cannot put a relative gradient as to which shadow is worse. All shadows are bad, whether they come seemingly mild or strong or adverse. Hitler was responsible for killing over 65 million Jews and no other racial ethnicities. Yet, Adolf Hitler, if we believe in the principles of the ancient cosmic teachings, is that if he asks for forgiveness, he too will forgive him. And he too will be absolved of the crimes that he has done against the Jews and against humanity. Not to mention plunging the world into a second world war. Well, it was First World War. The Holocaust occurred in World War One. Then there was World War Two. Although technically it really occurred in both wars. So Virgo concerns himself or herself with healing society, healing the nations after so much psychological upheaval and disruption that it has to be healed in this way in order for the individual person to begin to emerge and find their own sense of balance within the matrix of society, which was in due of healing. Okay? Think about it. Germany was demonized, stigmatized, because having been responsible for 2 world wars, which is why Germany was divided into East and West. It's too strong to be together. It might cause another war, World War III. This is the supposed reason. And I really do believe that the Germans are some strong, tough motherfucking race. I do believe that. And I was in agreement with Germany being divided. It's too strong as a nation. It will destroy all of us and our planet. Thank God, hopefully, we see a different consciousness with the German people. And we do, because Germany today, if you go to Munich, or you go to certain parts of Germany, you see more ethnic diversity in that country than Germans. And I like that. Germany has suffered from a complex of being such a tyrannical nation that has caused 2 world wars and hates everybody, that it has opened its doors to all kinds of people. Maybe a little bit too much. No, that's subject to debate. But Germany is moving down the right track. Germany and Russia are correlated with Capricorn, like Cuba. These nations are not going to get better overnight. It takes time. In time, these are going to be first-rate nations, including Russia. Yeah. So Virgo is concerned, having said all of this, because it seems like I'm all over the place, but there is a method to my madness. You have to understand that Virgo rules municipality. It rules these kinds of political concerns on a grand scale and on a lesser scale. The same can be said about the individual life of the Virgo man or the Virgo woman. If he has that kind of concern for the general collective, what do you think he will have concern for in his own personal life? Okay? So I hope you understand what I'm saying. You know, Virgo is concerned with improvements, day to day or moment to moment adjustments to create a balance or to cause a balance. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's hope that the partner is on the same page with the Virgo who thinks in this way and wants to develop that kind of relationship with his partner or her partner. Now, Sagittarius, on the other hand, has the same passion and the same drive as Virgo, but in a totally different direction. It's so hot that the ice melted in minutes. Melted. We're still dealing with the scorcher here in New York City. Woo! Okay. Oh, that was delicious. Terrible. Now, Sagittarius is concerned with the same social issues, believe it or not, as Virgo. Even those of Libra. Even though the social consciousness of Libra is not the same as Virgo. The consciousness expressed in Libra is more idealistic. But if they don't have the backbone to bring it about, it's going to stay just what it is, an idea. Virgo, however, will take that idea and manifest it into reality because Virgo is an earth sign. You know, it's not an air sign like Gemini or Libra or Aquarius, where the ideas just stay there in the air, in the ethers, and don't come down into practical, empirical flourishment of tangible results. Not going to happen with the air signs. You know, it's going to take fire signs or earth signs to make the ideas of the air signs take form, concrete form, and be executed. So, having said that, Sagittarius on the opposite end of the gradient actually deals with the same issues of Virgo, but not on a mundane level or societal level. Not grassroots where you roll your sleeves and get to work and fix the shit. Whatever social issue or problem is going on, you know, you gotta roll your sleeves and get to work. Virgo will do that, not Sagittarius. Sagittarius is an armchair philosopher. Do you know what I mean by armchair philosopher? He will sit on his chair, cross his legs like I'm doing, put forth his hands, and he'll delegate what needs to be done, what should be done. And he'll profess that in his ideas. Remember, the opposite polarity of Sagittarius is Gemini, the sign of the ideas. So he's perfectly comfortable with the ideas. But when it comes to the dissemination of ideas and give them form and have them manifested in complete and concrete reality, now we got a problem. Sagittarius doesn't fit the bill. So who's going to fit that bill? To bring the ideas into a tangible, workable reality. I'm gonna tell you right now, it won't be Sagittarius. Unless there are other aspects in the birth chart, like an emphasis in Capricorn or the 10th house or even Saturn. And that will give the Sagittarian the emphasis and the courage and the discipline to then pursue that objective and carry it out. But if he doesn't have those kinds of signs in his profile, I doubt very much that he or she will accomplish much. Now, if we're dealing with a Capricorn, the Capricorn is diabolically patient. I mean, he's diabolically patient. He will outwin his enemy, outrun his enemies, outthink them, outsmart them. Capricorn is no joke now. No joke. So then, when we're dealing with Sagittarius and Virgo as a couple, how does this work out? And who's the boss? Who's the boss? But before we go there, let's go back to the fundamental question of how we find this combination in nature. Okay? I mentioned the Virgo represents the platform of the earth itself and all that's in it, all that's beautiful, ugly, and bold. Sagittarius also describes the same order, but not on this plane. and the heavens. You have to understand that Sagittarius is Zeus, Jupiter, number 9, the highest Sephiroth in the tree of life. After that, you got 0, which is Kether. Right? If you know anything about Jewish mysticism and Kabbalah. So, here's the thing. While Virgo is interested in repairing the mind and the body at the same time, or alternating between one of the two, depending on which one needs more attention, the Sagittarian will only foster the mind, but not the heart. If I had to say, well, who's going to quit? Who's going to not do the job? I will have to say that it will be Sagittarius. You see, Sagittarius is not going to do the work if he doesn't want to. And he doesn't like to be moved to do anything. Even though Sagittarius is a mutable fire sign, there's a little bit of a stubborn streak in Sagittarius. And not many astrologers talk about that. The opposite polarity, which is Gemini, is not at all, doesn't fit that profile. So he's not drawing that from Gemini. Where is he drawing it from? This is a dynamic that many astrologers have not been able to understand concerning Sagittarius. So, having said that, the Sagittarian energy requires a certain level of consistency coming from the partner. But that doesn't mean that they themselves are going to be consistent with you. They tend to put people in a double standard, in a paradoxical double standard. So then you ask yourself, well, what are we supposed to learn from this? What are we supposed to gauge from this? Sagittarius is concerned with the advancement of the mind, the evolution of the mind, bringing the mind from the animal nature to a more divine state, which is the 11th sign of the zodiac, which is Aquarius. When we reach Aquarius, we have reached the end of our journey. We really have. Pisces, which is the 12th sign of the zodiac, is only a gateway. It's not a key. It's a gateway to return back to God and not go back out. Once you're in, though, it becomes a whole different reality. The Sagittarian personality, both man and woman, is concerned with educating your mind, liberating your mind, uplifting your mind, and causing you to think on another level and obtain a different perspective based on that other level of thinking that you didn't have before. In that sense, that's a good thing. Sagittarius awards us that. The problem becomes with Virgo. Well, Virgo has his own philosophy, his own way of doing things, or her way of doing things. And they don't respond to the beat of a different drum either. Aquarius or Virgo or Sag, that becomes a problem. That becomes a problem because now my camera is acting up. There we go. And I'm not even touching it. Sagittarius is concerned with the improvement of the soul via the mind. by elevating the mind, which is why Sagittarius rules philosophy. But Virgo does the same thing too. But it doesn't do it via the mind, like with Sagittarius. It does it through the heart. Virgo is a lot more sensitive than he likes to be given credit for. The problem becomes, how do you balance two polar opposites in philosophy? Virgo is concerned with the mundane matters, and he's the fixer, quicker upper. Whereas Sag doesn't want to get his or her hands dirty, and much prefer to solve things through the power of the intellect and their mind. Now, don't get me wrong. They are most certainly capable. But what doesn't work in a context of like this is if a joint cooperation is to be accomplished and then executed almost immediately. And that's going to be impossible. It's impossible to do that. You know, both Sagittarius and Virgo have a different biorhythm. They have a different time clock. And a lot of times they don't mesh together. It's not an enmeshment. So then you have to ask yourself, well, how can I make this work? Well, the way you make it work is by actually taking the time to discover each other. And if there are flaws within you that you need to address and correct, then you might need to do that separately, away from the relationship, so it doesn't destroy something before it begins. And you most certainly don't want a value judgment based on you and some fucking inability to balance a checkbook or pay a bill. All of us have been in those positions before. It shouldn't be an opportunity to cast judgment and judge somebody. What I'm strong with today, I might be weak tomorrow. This is what I'm saying. Okay, with 32 minutes and 52 seconds, we're going to jump into the other half. What did I do here? You know, it's always something. It's always something. But anyway, let me not get distracted. Because, you know, the devil's a liar. You know, if we believe in such a thing. Okay. So, how do we make this relationship work? Going back with nature. Sagittarius is fire. Sagittarius is mutable fire. Mutable fire won't be the volcano that I talk about. Won't be the magma bursting from the ocean floor, reacting with the water to create new island continents. No. It's not this type of water that we're talking about. Okay? This type of fire, mutable fire. This type of fire is not a fire that deals with, you know, the sun, which is related to Leo, or the magma bursting from the ocean floor, reacting with the salt water of the ocean to create new continent. That's Aries. So with Sag, what would be the analogy of Sag, and how do we connect the concept of Sagittarius in nature? Well, I'm going to tell you. The concept of connecting Sagittarius in nature is the fact that Sagittarius has a burning, insatiable energy that she gives off in the water when she swims. I know I'm making it sound like an animal, like a specimen. It's fucked up. But the bitch can do some shit in that water. You know, she can turn cold, she can turn hot, lukewarm, like Aquawoman or Aquaman. How the fuck she do that? That right there lets you know how significant the power of the human mind is. If you can accomplish even a mustard seed of metaphysical paranormal activity on your own, that's good. That means that your soul is ready to move on to the next level, to the next trajectory in your evolution. But even if you stand right at the precipice, because you know, like, oh, I'm ready, baby. Ooh, 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 I'm ready. I'm done. I graduated from the School of Hard Knocks. I'm getting ready to do my thing. I'm ready. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And then, bam! You knocked off your horse. Knocked off your horse. You don't know what the fuck happened. You thought you had everything going right, and suddenly things flipped on you. Why do I mention this in the middle of this discourse? It's because one thing that I did not mention, which I'm mentioning now, is that, well, you've heard me say that about Virgo. Virgo is the sign of crisis. Yes, yes, yes. Virgo will bring crisis to your doorstep, either through their lying, their cheating, their inconsistency, or their own personal insecurity, which then fucks with their own lives and then fucks with yours. Because the man that doesn't love himself cannot love somebody else. So there certainly isn't going to be peace in that house if a man doesn't love himself and he's the head of the household, right? I can tell you that right now. So, when we're dealing with Virgo and Sagittarius, even though Sagittarius can be a liar, a thief, a cheat, and all X, Y, and Z, Sagittarius is the sign that will heal Virgo, transform him, bring him up to another level where he can appreciate himself, love himself, and get a sense of love for his fellow human beings and eventually help, love other people. This is a process. This is something that doesn't happen overnight. So if you have a woman out there who's a Virgo, who wants to rehabilitate a man and wants to go to the hospital to do it, postpone that. There's a better way to get at Gemini. And I mentioned Gemini because Gemini and Virgo are ruled by the same sign as Mercury. So what applies to Virgo also applies to a certain degree to Gemini. And they're both mutable signs. Right? So, and now talking about Sag, another mutable sign, fire. Sagittarius has the power to change its opinion, transform its position, and even go backwards, fix what was not fixed, and pay restitution to what needed to be brought to the surface. Virgo is extremely efficient that way, but so is Capricorn, another fellow earth sign, and to a lesser degree, Sagittarius, because it is Zeus, right? The king of the gods. If we're talking about, the post-Hellenistic period. So then the challenge becomes, how do we relate or how do we translate the mythology of the gods with the human personality and ego of each individual Virgo Sagittarius, especially within the context of a relationship? How do we do that? What is the conclusion? Excuse me. Well, it's very simple. Sagittarius and Virgo have a lot in common. They also have similar fears. This is another combination of that there has to be a lot of maturity, a lot of education, a lot of self-knowledge in order to make this work. If this couple is young, below age 30, the likelihood of succeeding will not be the same as if they were older. There are certain things that evolve over time that you're just not going to get below age 30. This is one of those combinations where you're not going to get the level of evolution or achieve a certain level of evolution that you could reach had you been much older. When you're young, again, in your 20s, teens, even below 30, 25, 27, you don't know yourself enough to know the totality of your being and how that's going to relate and translate into a cohesion or a fusion with another human being. Because both of you have to know each other and both of you have to accept the dark and the light of each other. You just cannot accept the goodness of a person and not accept his shadow. Otherwise, you're setting yourself up to fall. We are three-dimensional human beings with the dark and the light. And both of them together is what constitutes a human being. So it would be a mistake for you to try to think that you can obliterate the evil of the darkness. That's not going to happen. It's not going to go anywhere. If anything, it's there on purpose to help us move forward towards another reference point that's healthier and better and more beneficial, not just for all of us as individuals, but for the animals, the plants, the minerals, and the rest of the species on our planet that coexists with us. We are the higher primates. And if we don't have it together up here, as evidence in history has shown, then that means that all of nature suffers. Remember, if you go with the mythology that God created a heaven and earth, and then he put man there and made man the stewardship of our planet, so that he can fix it, categorize it, name it, do whatever he wants. So technically, that job should fall on us, the earth sign, and of course through subsequent humanity. But here's the thing, that's not going to really function well if there's no foundational philosophy which these actions stem from. Now, Sagittarius may figure better than Virgo in this respect, because Sagittarius is number 9, is much higher on the Jacob's ladder of evolution than Virgo, which is number 6. But still, it is 3 signs away, multiples is 3. So there is a simpatico relationship between Sag and Virgo. In the mythology, Aries was casted into prison. And it was Mercury, if you remember the Greek mythology, it was Mercury that let Aries out. So there's no way that we can escape the consequences or incongruencies or even the congruencies of our mundane lives if we base them on the planet. We don't even have to base them on the planets or on the sign. You can use any other system, particularly the best kind I would think would be a numeric system, in which you can decode the same situation that I'm telling you on YouTube. You can find in other ways and in other areas with other magicians, other people adept in the mysteries. Astrology is one of those mysteries, but it's not the end-all with-all. There are other mysteries and disciplines. It just so happens that astrology is the most ancient, the oldest. When Moses was walking the earth, there were still astrologers, and a lot of them, and very prominent in their day. And we're done with this combination.